Okay, let's unpack this. Ever feel like there's um like an invisible wall, something holding you back from what you could be?
Right. That sense that maybe you haven't quite hit your limit yet.
Exactly. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into someone who basically demolished those walls, David Goggins. We're pulling from a really insightful review of his book, Can't Hurt Me.
Hmm.
And our mission really is to pull out the key lessons, the surprising stuff that shows how he went from, well, unimaginable struggles to becoming this icon of mental toughness.
And it's more than just his story. Incredible as it is, it's about the principles, right?
Yeah.
Mental strength, self-mastery, things anyone can potentially tap into.
Absolutely. It makes you ask yourself, like, do you really know what you're capable of? Is this really your maximum?
Goggins would say that's the crucial question.
So let's kick things off with this idea from the source, this blank check thought experiment. Imagine someone gives you a totally blank check. What number do you write down?
Okay. Got a number in mind.
Great. Now, why not double it? Or times 10? It's funny, isn't it, how we just automatically limit ourselves, even in our imagination.
It is. And that links straight into Goggins' main point.
Yeah.
Our brains are kind of, designed with limits. Not always bad. We need structure, but
But it can go wrong.
exactly. When your own mind starts saying, oh, I can't do that. Like, I can't swim, or heights, no way. Or even, I just can't wake up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, the classic ones.
Goggins argues you have to, actively rewire those circuits. You build new pathways by pushing back, weakening the old I can't ones.
Which brings us to the title, Can't Hurt Me, and the subtitle, Master Your Mind. And look, this isn't magic, right? No quick fixes here.
Not at all. It's 100% real, brutal honesty about his life.
Yeah, you really need the backstory. Like trying to Breaking Bad just from the last episode, you miss the whole journey, the context that forged him.
And what a forging it was. His childhood. Starts in Williamsville, New York, 1981. Looks idyllic upper-class town.
But not his house.
No. Paradise Road, he called it, but inside. He said it was hell. Lives with his father, who owned a skate rink, Skateland, and who Goggins called the devil himself.
Just brutal. The routine alone, working all night at the rink, then school, as a little kid.
6 years old, exhausted, trying to stay awake in first grade.
Yeah.
And the abuse. Constant.
Constant.
Physical, verbal, hiding bruises so his dad wouldn't find out the teachers saw.
God, imagine having to hide marks from a belt beating at 6 and the incident with the gun.
Yeah, his dad pulling a loaded gun from under the couch where he slept. His mom tries to stand up, police come.
And do nothing, just domestic dispute.
Exactly. That feeling of being trapped, helpless.
Mm-hmm.
You can see how that might plant the seeds for his later self-reliance. Like, okay, no one's coming to save me, it's on me.
So eventually they escape. With help.
Yeah, his mom's friend Betty helped. Advised her to get a credit card, gain some independence. Then one morning after his father said something awful, she just left. Packed the car, drove 8 hours to Brazil, Indiana to live with grandparents.
But escaping the father didn't mean escaping hardship.
Not at all. Brazil meant poverty. His grades tanked, he started cheating, developed a stutter from stress. His brother actually went back to their father because he couldn't handle being poor.
Wow. Collecting pennies off the street to pay bills.
Yeah. Then there was a flicker of hope. This guy Wilmont, really kind, became like a father figure. But then tragedy strikes again.
He was murdered.
Just days before he was supposed to marry Goggins' mother. Senselessly murdered.
Oh, man. And Goggins saw the aftermath.
Yeah, the crime scene. Add that to seeing a kid hit by a bus earlier.
Hmm.
Is just trauma piling up. His mom fell apart, total despair, and Goggins was just adrift.
So he drifted through his teens, trying to be cool, basketball, cheating.
Yeah, until he got kicked off the team, dropped out of school. But all this darkness, this suffering, it becomes the raw material later.
Which leads to that massive turning point, the accountability mirror.
Exactly. He's 20, weighs 290 pounds, feels like a total failure, stands in the bathroom, looks in the mirror, and just starts grilling himself.
Like, are you happy with this? How are you going to join the Air Force like this? When are you taking responsibility?
Brutal honesty. And the change. Instant. Shaved his head, changed clothes, imposed this insane military discipline on his life. Bed made, strict schedule, cooking, cleaning, studying like crazy. 6 to 8 hours of studying, and workouts at 4 a.m.?
Yep. Got a tutor, used repetition because he felt his brain was slow. It was all about proving himself wrong, taking total ownership, actively rewiring.
He wanted the Air Force, but kept failing the entrance test.
Yeah, terrible scores initially. Needed a 36, got a 22. Just shows how far behind he was educationally. But then he saw that documentary.
About Navy SEAL training.
That was the spark. His real deep dive began then.
And the goal he set was Well, insane.
Completely. Lose 106 pounds in 3 months to meet the 109-pound seal limit? Recruiters just laugh.
And his first run was a disaster.
Collapsed on the street, total despair. But then he watched Rocky, the first one. Saw how Rocky just kept getting up.
Apollo Creed's reaction. Exactly. And it hit him. My mind was the problem. That's when he decided, okay, it's war. War on my own mind.
It wasn't just try harder. It was a diagnosis and a strategy.
Precisely. And the training that followed.
Wow. 2 hours on the bike, 2 to 4 hours swimming, and he was terrified of water.
Never called it a phobia, though. Just did it. Then 2 hours in the gym, hundreds of push-ups, running 10, 15 miles a day.
And the key thing, no music. Just him and his thoughts.
Constant self-talk. His mind says 100 push-ups, he does 200. Mind says stop, he pushes more. A mental fight for every single rep. He was coaching himself, fighting himself.
Learning his mind's tricks, its excuses.
And deliberately pushing back. Identifying your stop signal, I'm tired, I can't, and having a plan to override it. That was his method.
But even with that mindset, SEAL training itself, brutal. Hell week 3 times.
3 times. Injuries kept setting him back.
Yeah.
Knee injury, then broken shins. Doctors told him to stop.
But he just wrapped his legs and kept going.
Refused to quit. He saw the physical pain as just scars from the war with his mind. Necessary scars.
And then finding out later he had a hole in his heart.
Makes it all even more unbelievable, doesn't it? And kind of proves his point about genetic limits maybe having like 1% exceptions if you push hard enough.
So he graduates, becomes a SEAL, then gets into ultramarathons, triathlons. But it was never about the medals, was it?
No, he always says, it's not about the trophy. It was always about winning that war with his mind. Physical strength matters, sure, but the mental game, that's everything.
It's just, the scale of that transformation is mind-blowing. Losing the weight, the water fear. What's the most, shocking part about what it shows us?
For me, it's how deliberate the internal fight was.
Yeah.
It wasn't just grit. It was almost scientific. Identify weakness, attack weakness. That level of brutal self-honesty is incredibly rare. That's how he kept breaking his own impossible.
We've really only scratched the surface here. If this is sparking something for you, if you want the full, raw story of how he did it, you've got to check out the book, Can't Hurt Me. We'll drop a link in the description for you.
Definitely worth the read.
So we've seen the journey, the fire he went through, but let's dig into the philosophy now. What allowed him to do all this? And it really starts with rejecting victimhood, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That's the bedrock. He just stopped blaming, didn't blame the abusive dad, the poverty, the racism he faced. He landed on, I am responsible for myself, period.
It wasn't just thinking it, it was living it.
Totally. He stopped caring about being the cool kid or what others thought, built his own strength from the inside out. Like, yeah, my past happened, but I decide what happens next.
Which kind of leads to this idea of being a man, but not in the way we often hear it criticized.
Right. It's crucial to separate it from toxic masculinity, which, ironically, his father was a prime example of. Aggressive, controlling, emotionally shut down.
Yeah. But Goggins embodies something else, like what Jordan Peterson talks about, the necessity of masculine traits, but meaning things like responsibility, facing hard truths, inner strength, leadership. Character traits, really.
Exactly. It pushes back on the idea that it's okay to just constantly complain or blame others. Sure, vulnerability is important, crying is okay, but not endless wallowing without taking action. You need that mental toughness to lead yourself first and foremost.
And that toughness comes from facing reality head on.
That's Goggins' big message. Life is hard. It's got good, bad, support, criticism, all of it. The world won't bend for you.
You have to get strong enough.
Right. He says, not everyone will stand by you. Not everyone will appreciate you. His own suffering, horrible as it was, became the forge for his resilience. He learned to take every hit, every setback, and turn it into fuel. Suffering isn't an excuse to quit. It's training.
And that's the core takeaway, maybe. This guy we see now, the toughest man alive. He started out weak, lost, defined by pain. He literally made himself who he is.
Completely self-made. He proves negative stuff doesn't have to break you. It could be the very thing that makes you incredibly strong, mentally tough, but you have to choose to use it that way.
So what does this all mean for you listening? It means your mind will try to limit you. That's its job, in a way. But Goggins' story is like Exhibit A for the insane potential hiding inside us. It's a call to start that war with your own mind.
And think about it. If Goggins facing all that abuse, poverty, racism, physical challenges, even a heart defect, could do what he did just by mastering his mind.
Yeah.
What impossible thing are you telling yourself you can't do?
Good question.
What battle are you avoiding? Because ultimately, nobody else is going to fight it for you. If you want it, you got to go get it. You have to fight.
Wow. An incredible deep dive today. If this got you thinking, if it made you want to push your own limits, definitely grab the book. Can't hurt me. Seriously, the full story is even more powerful. Links in the description. Go check it out. You might just blow your own mind.
Yeah, highly recommend it.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, stay curious and keep diving deep.